Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go over a couple of the higher time frame ideas that we're looking for here. Still looking for the potential that this could be within the higher degree ABC pattern to the downside here, where what we're saying is that this is our A wave, this is our B wave, and we're still looking for the potential of the C wave, where we could look to potentially still drop between this 25,360 to this 23,646. Now within this idea, what we'd then be saying is that we are looking for a 5-wave move to the downside, and the most probable way this would actually be looking to take place is that this is 1, 2, 3 into this low over here, and then effectively what we would be looking for is potentially to actually have formed a triangle here, or alternatively what we could have is that this is W, X, and Y, and then we're looking for this move to break down in this 5th wave. Now the current target for this would be this lower level here, 24,514 to this 23,495 as a potential target. Now if this is actually looking to form as a triangle, what I would be looking out for here would be this green support box area here of this 25,857 to this 25,776 as our golden pocket area, which is a common zone for a relationship between the C wave and the D wave here. So now if we do look to overshoot this, I will also be looking for this level here of this 25,432 as a potential alternate zone that we could look to find support. Now this would be quite an interesting area if we did actually come back down here deeper, because this would look to actually interact with the top of this trend line and would also look to potentially bring us down into some of these lows that we've got over here. So within this idea, what we'd then potentially be saying is that the D wave is actually looking for this move to become a bigger W, X, and a Y as a double zigzag if we're going to get that lower push into that range. Now, if we are looking at this D wave as completed here, what we would then be looking for is 3 waves back to the upside, not crossing the C wave, and then potentially looking for an interaction with the top of this trend line here, and then looking for that continuation down. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Invalidation would be getting a sustained break above the C wave at this 27,483. So that would be the way of looking at this, as potentially actually still forming as a triangle. Now if we do form this as a triangle, we also need to be open to the interpretation here that if we are looking at this as a bigger A, a B, and a C, that effectively we could also be looking at this as A, B, C, D, E for a triangle, and then seeing a bigger push down towards this 1-to-1 level. Now if we had to see a move down towards its zone, it would be likely that our 1-to-1 target would actually move towards this 21,459 by the time we form this E wave, but until we actually form it, we wouldn't have a solid point to actually tie that 1-to-1 into. So we'd have to just wait for that confirmation of the triangle by getting support on this D wave and then seeing that bounce up in 3 waves. Now there are some other ways that we could look at this move actually playing out, and we're just going to discuss some of the ones that have been validated. We were looking for the possibility that we were looking for a breakout from this point, where we were saying that this could be 1-2-1-2 here, and then we're looking for that potential to find support above this red line here at this 26,224. We have come down and invalidated that, so I'm removing that from the chart. This was looking for that potential of that 1-2. Like I said, we've invalidated it. Now within this idea here, there is still potential here. We could still be forming a bigger B wave, so I haven't ruled out this idea, and we've talked about this a few times, where effectively, you know, if this is our A wave here, until we actually get a break below this 24,564, I am going to be looking out for the potential that this move here could also just be WXY, looking for this white B wave. Now the common target area for B wave has already been hit here at this 0.618 level. Now what I want to see is how we respond. We can see we're starting to get a bit of a rally here, but until we cross this high of this 26,738, I'm going to be looking out for the more bearish case where we could still continue down. Now this is just showing another way that we could look to move up in a corrective manner, where this whole move could be our A wave. We're looking for this B wave down, and then we still see a C wave to the upside, where we would be looking for potentially this zone here, this 28,204 to this 28,752, which would align with coming back up and sweeping this high and looking to actually get an interaction with some of these levels higher up here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on those zones if we do see continuation up. Now within the more bearish scenario here, what we're saying is that this could be AB, and then we're looking for a bigger breakdown here. Now we're saying that, you know, we need to be very careful here, that we could be looking for either a 3-wave move down, in which case what we'd be looking for would be potentially this target here of this 24,740 at a 1-to-1. So that would be looking at this as A, B, and C. Now, if we do get something like that, this could still align with the idea that this would be our wave 1, this would be our wave 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what we'd be doing is forming a wedge shape pattern here, forming a diagonal, looking to complete that C wave. So that C wave target would be the same as the one we discussed in the first part. Now, this is looking for the more bearish scenario here. If we do start to see price looking to break to the downside, and we start to push towards this zone of this 23,183, we would have confirmation here that we could potentially be looking for this as a third wave. Now, the only way we're going to get confirmation of this is by forming this fourth wave, not crossing this wave 1, and then seeing that fifth wave down. That would be our confirmation of the count. And then from there, we'd have to actually be very careful of any kind of a move which moves past this 20,903. Now, we have to be very careful here that this isn't looking to extend to the downside, and we're going to go over that count in a second. Now, within this idea of us breaking down, what we talked about previously was two ways, and I'm going to come in a bit closer here. Now, we are saying that as long as we stayed below this 26,806, we were looking for this potential of a break to the downside. Now, we have overshot this target, which was 26,293 to this 26,159. I'm going to remove that off the chart. Now, what we would be looking for here, if this is actually now formed our fifth wave to the downside and this is completed, what we'd then be looking for here potentially would be a bigger three-wave move to the upside, looking to target out this 786, which would be this 27,156 to this 26,730. Now, if we do see just three waves up here, we would then be looking for that continuation to the downside. If this is going to turn into an impulse where this is 1, 2, we'd have to then see a move down. Now, the target area that I've actually taken this wave 2 to is this 0.618, which is sitting at this 26,905. If we do see a move up into that point, what I'd then be looking for is, like I said, that confirmation of the third wave target being 24,570. A move down towards this 24,570 would confirm the idea here that we could be looking for the impulse, and then we'd have to wait once again for this fourth wave target and then see that fifth wave to the downside, looking to push us down towards this 24,371 to this 24K region. Now, this would align quite nicely with the idea here that this is actually just forming an ABC. We can see that 1-to-1s here at this 24,740. So if we do see something like this play out, this would align with the possibility of this being just a bigger ABC. If we do however get that extension, like I said, we're looking for this 23,183 zone based off of this high that we've got over here. Invalidation is 27,483. So until we actually break back above that, we need to be very careful. Now, I've been talking about that possibility of extension within this. In the previous video, we talked about the possibility here that instead of following this move in this way, what we could actually have is that this is 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, the problem I have with this is that the secondary wave 2 would be quite large. We could argue that the wave 2 is here and that this is another 1, 2, and then we'd be looking for this is effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we'd possibly still be incomplete within this idea. But if we do take this wave 2 to this point, what I'm going to be looking out for is any kind of a move past 25,382 with high volume would actually indicate that potentially this wave 3 is still in play, and we could be looking towards this target here of this 25,266 to this 25,073 if we do confirm this idea. Now, like I said, we also need to be very careful that if this is just W, X, and Y, we could have this as just A, B, and C, and we failed to actually get this additional fourth and fifth and fourth and fifth here. So this is why if we want to see this move break down here, it is also possible that this could look for this lower 2.618. Now, the reason that I'm saying that is if we come in closer here and look at the idea of an extension within this, what we'd then be saying is that this move to the downside is completed as a wave 1. We have this as A, we have this as B, and we're looking for this C wave to the upside. Now, if this is A, B, and C, the 1-to-1 is sitting here towards this 26,333. But if we do look to see this push up a little bit higher here, I will be keeping an eye on this 26,361, and then if that area fails, we do have 26,450 that could potentially offer us resistance. If this does look to push all the way back up here, I'm going to be watching this level here as a potential retest it before looking for that breakdown. Now, the idea within this idea of the extension would be that this is effectively 1, we're forming 2, we're going to get 3, 4, and 5. 25089 would be where our current target for this fifth wave would look to push us if we look to push up towards this 50% level. We haven't reached that, and it is possible this could fall short, so we need to be on the lookout. Now, what we'd be expecting if this is going to confirm is that this is 1, 2, and then we'd start to see a bigger 5-wave move to the downside for me here. Now, this would look to actually increase in volume, and we'd be looking for this target of this 1618, like I said, off of that 50%. But if it was off of this current high we have, it would actually be 25138. So that's what I'm going to be looking for these downside potentials here. If we're going to see this continue to push to the downside, that's what we could be looking for. But we need to just be aware of that idea of this forming a bigger corrective pattern to the upside. Like we've said before, it is possible we could start to push up in a corrective fashion where effectively, if I come back out here onto the higher time frame, what we've been discussing within the previous video is that possibility of seeing something more along these lines, where effectively what we have is a completed A wave over here, and we could be looking for a B wave to the upside. And as we said previously, this is going to be the primary area I'm looking for, 29689 to this 28024. If we are looking at this move as being A and looking for this as a bigger ABC pattern. If, however, we see this become an overshooting B wave, we could still look to push up towards this 33548 to this 31K before seeing a more violent sell-off to the downside, looking for this target over here, which would then look to sweep down and take out these lows again. So we need to just be on the lookout for an idea like this, where we could still be looking for effectively seeing a bit of a push to the upside, looking to trap some traders, and then seeing that push to the downside afterwards. For as long as we continue to hold this low here of this 24890, we could be looking at something like this developing. Now, internally here, like I said, what we need to be careful of is that this could just be as a corrective structure, looking at this as A, looking for this as WXY, and then looking for the continuation up. Now, within this idea of a W, an X, and a Y, we have actually come down already to the minimum requirement, which is sitting here at this 26076. So if this move here is actually completed, and this isn't 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or this isn't 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, what we would then be looking for is the potential of a reversal to the upside. We have come into this 0.618. If this is an A wave here, which is a common zone to get a reaction to the upside, the target would actually be here 28752 to this 28204, which would align with actually seeing that bigger push up here, where we would then be looking for the possibility of coming back up here into this level of this 28699 as a 0.618 retracement. So this is why I'm just keeping an eye on this idea of seeing some upside play out here. Now, there is a lower degree of confidence move here, where we could argue from this low point here, we're looking at this move as a breakout pattern. But what we would need to see, given our current low over here, is actually seeing price move up towards 30,494 to confirm this idea. Now, the way that we would have to argue that this has taken place, if this is a impulse to the upside, would be that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up into the high here. Now, the reason I don't like this is because this wave 4 would effectively be bigger than the wave 2 over here. So that's why I don't like this count. It is also possible you could argue this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have this as a diagonal, as a fifth wave. Once again, all being within a bigger diagonal here, but I don't really like to see the fifth wave be a diagonal within a diagonal. It is more common just to see a single 5-wave move. So still on the lookout for the potential of a reversal here. Invalidation of this turning into an impulse would be the low over here towards this 24906, and we'd need to start to see some volume coming in and some impulsive movements to the upside. We need to see a break back above this 30,494 before we could get bullish here. And like I said, until we actually break 28165, the idea of the downside is looking a lot neater at this moment. Whether this develops just as ABC and then we get a reversal, or alternatively we get this as ABC, we get 3 waves up and then we get another 3 waves down for that diagonal idea. And really, until we take the high, we can't get rid of that idea of that bearish continuation to the downside either. So it's going to be very important to see a break of this high if we're looking for that bullish case. And even if we are looking for that bullish case of a push to the upside here, we need to start breaking back above this 30,494 for this confirmation. Coming in here and having a look at the daily CPR lines, we can see that we have broken down. We've hit this S1 line twice. We've retested this level and we've moved back up into our central lines, which is this 26,306 to this 26,430. As long as we remain below this, we need to be careful of that more bearish case where this could become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or alternatively A, B, and C to the downside. If we lose this S1 line here at this 26k, other targets would be 25,754 for today, 25,378, and this 25,136 as potential downsides targets for today. A break back above these central lines would then open up the possibility of testing this 26,613. Other targets to the upside for today would be 26,981, 27,237, and this 27,602. Now, if we come over here and change this over onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our central lines. Now, these did actually continue to print a higher CPR line for this week. Like we said previously, though, we need to be aware that we still have these CPR lines here, which are printed lower. So the overall trend is still down, but we do have these shorter term weekly CPR lines that are printing to the upside. Now, if we do look at potential targets based off of these CPR lines, if we do move up here, we have potential to find resistance at this 26,435, 26,618, and this 26,818 as potential zones for resistance directly above us. If we see this move actually just push down in an A, B, and a C, I'm going to be watching this 25,746. Other targets for this week would be this 25,259 and this lower level here, this 25,378 as potential targets to the downside for this week. If we do manage to flip back above these central lines this week, I will be looking out for the potential of a retest of this 27,115, 27,986, and this level here of this 28,484. Moving over here and having a look at the monthly CPR lines. Now, obviously, we are on the 25th of the month, so there is not a lot of time left for these, but we have lost this level of this lower CPR line here. Now, if we do see any kind of a bigger reversal to the upside here, I'm going to be watching this level again at this 26,522 as a potential rejection zone. If we do continue to reject off of this, this could then align with the idea here. We could start this breakdown in a bigger way, looking for this target of this 23,980 as our S1 target. If, however, we do see that potential of the reversal here, we could look for a move up into these lines. Now, 26,522, 27,121, and this level here, this 27,706, could be potential resistance points above us. If we do look at this bigger idea where this could potentially become a bigger corrective move, something like this as a bigger ABC pattern, the target would be this R1 line here of this 29,075, an interesting level based off of this previous support and resistance zone. Other targets for this month would be 32,190 and this higher level here of this 34k region. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.